Hi, welcome to Because Looking Good Feels Good. Don't we always feel good when we look good? Hi, I'm Dr. Janet Allenby. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am just getting everything set up here. We are going to have a great program today. It's called Keeping It Real with Real Self. And I see some people already waving. Hi, guys. I miss everybody very much. Today we are still in Corona craziness, and I just actually have a helicopter flying by my house right now. I am kind of close to where they dropped off the cruise ship people, which kind of does not make me feel good. But we do want everybody safe out there. Everybody take care of themselves. Please, please, please stay in. Let's get through this things together. I am going to be having Carolyn Sue joining me, and she's going to pop in one. So she is from Real Self, and I'm going to tell you guys, she's coming in here, and I want to talk while she's on, so she hears what I'm saying. Carolyn, hi! Thank you
Hi,
so
Dr.
much for
Allenby.
joining us. I was just telling the crowd, we are keeping it real with Real Self today, and thank you so much for joining us. So just for the viewers to understand what we're doing here, a lot of my program, Because Looking Good Feels Good, is really about giving great information to people so they can make good decisions on what they want to do aesthetically. And, I think the field just changes so much every single day. Having an online platform such as realself.com is just such a fantastic way for people to be up to date and to get into it a little bit faster. By the time you get a magazine, sometimes some of that stuff's actually already dated. So, I think you guys really have the edge on it. And, it's like kudos to the founder CEO, Tom Siri, one of the best guys. It's funny. Tom is such a big-hearted philanthropist. He gives. But one of the most humble people I think I've ever met. If he even heard it, he'd be blushing right now and go like, "Oh, don't say that." But what a wonderful person. But and it's when you see a structure of a company where the head is such a good person and such a wants to do the best for the community, that's the direction that the rest of the staff will take, such as him hiring somebody like you. And so a couple things.
Yep.
Carolyn is she's head of content, which is what all Real Self's about, honestly. At the end of the day, it's all about content for Real Self. And she has decades of experience already, but she's pretty young to be having more than even a decade. A lot of experience in the beauty industry as an editor. She writes articles. She does just tons of presentations about this. And Real Self is not a small company. So for her to be in this position, she has to have a lot of experience. So, that's where we rely on our people that we're affiliated within our company with people like Carolyn, who's the expert in her field. So, why don't you tell us first, how are
Yeah.
you doing with this coronavirus thing? Because you're on the west coast of United States, right?
Real Self is based in Seattle, but our editorial team is based in New York.
Oh
So
God,
yeah, so
even
I'm
worse.
yeah. Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a challenging time,
Yeah.
but our team is doing well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just really good news overall.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Real Self. You gave a wonderful introduction. I have to wholeheartily agree that Tom is just one of the most inspiring leaders that anybody could work for, and he is just so just cares so much about the consumer and the community, and I think that really translates to every part of the business.
Mhm.
And so like on Real Self, like you said, we're content, but we're I head up editorial content and in our consumer informational content, but we have all kinds of content. We have user generated content. We have like patient reviews, we have Q&As, we have content from our community of providers. So it's really like a one-stop destination where you can just get more information about any of your aesthetics questions than anywhere else, right? So, Real Self, you gave a wonderful introduction. I have to wholeheartedly agree that Tom is just one of the most understanding more about coronavirus. We have a large platform of doctors, and despite the fact that they may not be ER doctors or infectious disease experts, our consumers expect that the doctors understand the science and understand the evidence surrounding the virus. And
Mhm.
so we've done articles that have been very well received, where we're like debunking social media myths, right? You just know there's so much misinformation out there. And we're actually really trying to help consumers understand not only what they need to know for their personal health and safety, but what does it mean for their aesthetics decisions right now. So we're really tailoring that to our readers.
Yeah, and it actually because I get the email feeds from Real
Mm-hmm.
Self as a consumer on top of actually as also a physician, and I really do love going in there and looking at some of your information on coronavirus and just things that I might not get from another. A lot of my stuff's about healthcare, so I get very detailed. This drug is working, this one isn't,
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of have it in a little bit more layman's terms for me it's very nice. I definitely I have the medical background, but it's nice to kind of hear a daily like regular people stuff, because it applies to all of us at the end of the day, and we
Exactly.
are having to be a big team, not just a single person in this situation. This is not going to resolve without everybody getting involved.
Absolutely. And I'm really proud of the company because we are actually partnering with Bluestone Sunshields to, we've donated money and we are,
Oh,
yeah, on top of that, doing a donation drive,
oh, nice.
because they have repurposed their manufacturing to make protective goggles and face shields, which we know are in great need right now in the front lines. Um,
Right.
yeah,
We're getting there. We're actually right behind there. People are really starting to get on board with making that for down here too. We're
yeah.
probably 2 weeks behind you, and hopefully we're not going to reach the same peak, but we certainly could. But yeah, I think that is just like, you have to. I mean, this is the time to take care of the community. And, aesthetics seems like it should be on the back brain, but it never is. I mean, we all are very concerned with the community, but we're also, how is this impacting us at the end of the day, as an individual person? And I think that it's kind of a distraction to be able to kind of go into some of this aesthetic world and think about it, and okay, this is what I want to do when I get done, and how can I get there, and who can help me there. So I think
Mhm.
your platform is the one to go to for sure.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but whatever it takes for us to feel a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put on makeup today for the first time, talking to you, and it's nice, that not to,
But you look gorgeous.
well, thanks.
Everything I've ever seen on you, you've always been gorgeous anyway. So
Yeah. So.
okay, so tell, I guess, the readers otherwise. What's, I think a lot of the content that I've seen in the past was a little more geared to more plastic surgeons and plastic surgery, and I think there's been a bit of a shift in the company.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, it's natural. Like if you're considering a facelift, you've probably considered a number of non-invasives. You're probably investing a lot in your skincare, in your personal, like health and wellness routines. And so we are really wanting to bring like plastic surgery and that, part of beauty into the greater beauty conversation. So there's a lot more content, around around non-invasives for a while now, but also now a lot of content in skincare. So
Uh-huh.
like diving deep into like ingredients, doctor recommendations, and just we wanted to make sure that like beauty is a journey. Procedures you get is
I like that.
episodic. You
I
get
like
it,
that. Mm-hmm.
and so
I
we
like
really,
that.
yeah. And so, like at the end of the day, like we're here to talk about, about modern beauty, and that covers everything, right?
Oh, I
Not
like
just,
that. Modern beauty.
yeah.
You know, and on that point, being in dermatology, I think as a profession, we were a little bit slower to understand this and get into it, and especially more aesthetic dermatologists are a little bit more into the site, say, than
Mm-hmm.
a regular dermatologist. But I think it is what you're saying with modern beauty. It's kind of equals everything. It's
Yeah.
the skin, it's the hair, it's the face, it's the nails,
Mm-hmm.
the health of. It is still a medical platform, and it still is trying to address things that in dermatology we have been doing for years, but this is a much bigger voice for the people, and I think that's what's awesome about it.
Yeah. And I also think modern beauty is just about beauty on your terms. And so like, there's you know, we feel like all beauty decisions should be celebrated for what they are, right? They're your beauty decisions. And so whether that's, you know, like the cream that you discover that you love, or, you know, the procedure that changed your life, right?
Right. So I think it's a lot of sharing of the consumer with other consumers on your platform for people who don't know.
Yeah, and that's actually a huge element of trust as well.
Mhm.
You know, because we're basing our whole platform on trust, and consumers to consumer information is like some of the most important, you know, unbiased information that you as another consumer could hope to get, because you're getting the real story, right? There's
Right,
no
right,
like, there's no
right,
advertisers, there's nothing that would be influencing you to say other than what you personally have experienced or feel.
right. Which I think comes again from Tom Siri, who has the background in Expedia, in TripAdvisor, and brought that mentality of that we do tend to trust another consumer more than we're going to trust an expert, because we think maybe we're being sold when we're being
Mm-hmm.
told by an expert, oh, you need to do this, instead of which is not always the case, but there is some of that happens. So
Yeah.
that, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's different elements of trust, you know, from where you're getting your information from. Like from a consumer, it's definitely like, you know, what was my real experience? Where experts come in that consumers can is, of course, the understanding. Like sometimes, you know, like I'm telling my truth, but my truth may not be like that, you know, like what's actually happening because I'm interpreting what's happening, right? So there's definitely like a balance, I think. And like we leverage our like we don't you know, quote experts that are on like the payroll of a, you know, a big pharmaceutical company just to talk about that company's products, right? And
Right,
so
right,
like,
right. So you're not
you know, as
hired
yeah,
guns, right? Mhm.
exactly. So like as editors, we're also kind of vetting, and like we empower our experts to kind of tell us the real deal, right? Because we're going to publish that. And so, and to
Right.
your point, absolutely, that comes from Tom.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does. And, that is, he's just a very honest person
he is.
anyway. So that kind of goes with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, because I think it's just ingenious. Can you just give us a couple little words on the House of Beauty?
Yeah, so it's well, the House of Modern Beauty is
Mhm.
pivoting a little bit because it has in the past. I think it's we did three houses already. We did one in South by Southwest last March. We
Mhm.
did one in Seattle, and then we had a really big House of Modern Beauty in New York in December. It's an experiential event, so it's the physical aspect of that is currently on pause.
Okay.
It's being pivoted into something else, but what's so great about it is that it demystifies all of these treatments for consumers, and it gives them the opportunity to try it in a space where we've kind of vetted a lot of the providers that are administering these treatments,
Mhm.
right? Where we have like a medical director on staff, where we have some of like the best brands that are bringing, you know, their top uh, medical, you know, providers.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's kind of like our site brought to life, really, because you can make consumer connections there. You can make connections with providers there.
Right.
You can try things, and you know, um,
So for the viewers
it's
who are
just an
listening,
interesting place.
you know,
Yeah. Sorry.
yes, for the viewers who are listening, the Modern House of Beauty, which Real Self came up with, it's just so cool. We were very much looking forward to having one down here in Miami, but
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen with the coronavirus situation. But it's like kind of like a pop up, and it's kind of an expo on all the things that we do in the aesthetic world, on the medical level, and
Mhm.
and like Carolyn was saying, it's more about getting to meet people who actually do these things,
Mhm.
experiencing these one-on-one. And I think it was an absolute huge success from everything I've seen, watched, looked at. It really was an amazing situation for people to actually feel it in real time.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it was I've been to the Seattle and the New York one, obviously.
Mhm.
Super impressed, you know, with just how it looks and how it feels, and in the consumer experience there. And we also bring in, like, we have educational panels,
Mhm.
um, which is fantastic too, right? So like you know, in between trying treatments or researching treatments, like you have the opportunity to learn from like, you know, dermatologists, plastic surgeons, beauty editors, talking about kind of like some of the most, the hottest topics right now in
Right.
aesthetics. Yeah, so we hope it's coming back soon.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Yeah.
guys have something up your sleeve for that. I know you
Yeah.
guys. Oh, that's so cool. Now, the other things, has there been a shift on what people are asking for since the lockdown basically started, which you guys were one of the first lockdown arenas in Washington and New York?
Yeah, yeah. You know, so kind of like I said, people are still interested in these topics. What they don't have access now is they don't have the ability to go into their doctor's office to get consultations, to, you know, like have in-depth, you know, conversations and questions and procedures. And so we're seeing interest in virtual consultations. And I know that's something just from all of the great doctors that I follow on Instagram, a lot of doctors, dermatologists, and plastic surgeons are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think even on our site right now, we have the ability to filter for doctors that are accepting virtual consultations. And there's obviously more to come on that front.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really fantastic because we're, you know, just being really nimble and meeting the consumer where they are and, you know, and providing them like what they need right now.
Right.
And so that's exciting because, you know, when we're all free to leave our houses in maybe a month or, you know, hopefully.
Right.
um,
You already did your homework. You're ready to
Already,
go.
exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Which I do think, you know, that was definitely within the last couple of weeks. Like on our site, we are doing virtual consults with Christina, our physician's assistant, who everybody now is the time to do it. We're doing the virtual consults, plus we're also, when you actually come in, we're going to give 10% off to people, because I think this is the time for them to really get educated. And I was talking with Shino Bay, Dr. Shino Bay,
Hmm.
the other day, and we were talking about, you know, when people are pre-educated, they can come in with so much more getting to what they really want. You know, there's not a lot of, you know, should I do this? Should I do that? It's definitely a more pointed visit, and it doesn't waste
Right.
their time so much. And, you know, and that's a lot of it. I don't want to have people coming in just like, I don't know, what can you do for me? You know, and then start from scratch, versus it really helps when they kind of have an idea of what they're looking for, so we can help them get there. You know, and I think
Hmm.
like Real Self just recently put on our profiles in there, you know,
Hmm.
that we do take the virtual consult. So if there's other people in your community that are maybe not down here in Florida, that you can actually find somebody who does that, and you can start a dialogue with these people at least.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we have some really great content coming out too, because it's kind of uncharted territory for everyone, right? For a
Yeah,
lot of
totally.
consumers. So it's like questions from like, do I have to get naked, you know, in my virtual consult, to, you
Yeah.
know, like from privacy concerns to can I get a price quote? So we have just really great consumer friendly content that, you know, seeks to answer all of these questions.
Right. I mean, it definitely, I think Real Self has always been really good on the education. And I think there were a lot of changes consumers may not realize with Google you
Hmm.
know, there was a lot of content issues. And I think they've gotten everything straightened out. And it's actually, people get very legitimate information. And it kind of weeded out the people that shouldn't have been in this space anyway. And I think that was the real beauty of it. It was a little painful because you had to jump through more hoops. But at the end of the day, the more legitimate you are, the more you're going to be able to be present.
Absolutely. You know, I think Google just cares about servicing the best content for consumers, and
Right.
that's also what we care about.
Mhm.
So it's all aligned now, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know you had some questions for me since
I do. Yeah. So you know, some questions that we're hearing a lot from our readers. Okay, let's just get to it. Is there anything you can do at home to make your Botox or your fillers last longer? Because we can't exactly go in for touch-ups right now.
well, I gotta tell you, the really good thing about being stuck in your house is you're not exercising usually, unless you have a Peloton, which seems to be the most popular
Right.
thing, other than I probably your refrigerator and your TV and your iPad at their laptop at the moment. Not doing as much working out. You know, I will tell people, people run through things much quicker as far as their faces in particular when they're working out like mad people. we know the people that are doing, you know, a marathon. It's rare that the marathon people, especially the ones that are coming in the first half of the group, they get wiped out face wise. You know, they get very thin looking. They kind of drag a little bit more. So I think that, you know, just not having that extreme exercise, which, you know, it makes you kind of go back to, I think this whole episode of this world right now is making a lot of new resets in our mind. You know, it's making it thinking, wow, I need to slow down a little. I need to focus on things that are important. Maybe I don't need to do a 20-mile run. Maybe I could get a really good workout and have inner peace with a 3-mile run, you know, or just, you know, something lesser and more in moderation, and trying to think healthier, eating healthy. You know, don't grab for the donut, grab for you know, a piece of fruit instead. You know, trying to be healthier, drinking your fluids. You know, we always forget, you know, you really need to be drinking enough water just to keep hydrated and to keep you safe from coronavirus, which is even more important. You know, the healthier you are, the less likely if you did get coronavirus that you are going to survive it. You have a much better chance of getting through this unscathed. So I think, you know, just moderation, rethinking, you know, getting that inner peace, those are really important.
And by staying healthy, you can, and not, you know, running 20 miles a day, you also metabolize your Botox a little slower.
You know what, you really do.
Right?
People,
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that don't last, they're huge exercisers, and where most people can, in their 40s to 60s, they can come in twice a year. These people have to come in 3 to 4 times a year at least, and they really do run through the products much quicker. And you know, it becomes cost hazardous
Right.
today when it's already like cost hazardous having this thing going on.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good lead into my next question. Speaking of cost, I think we're all just more cognizant of what we're spending on at the moment. And so if, you know, and plus Sephora's are closed. So if we can't really stash up on our favorite Sephora products right now, do you have any like drugstore products that you swear by?
You know, if you can actually get to the drugstore, yeah, there are some. You know, overall, I love the stuff that obviously I've vetted out and I have in my office, and I do have an online store that people can buy from and we can ship it to you. But things that are probably a lot less expensive at the end of the day, they're nice. I don't feel that they're the same level as what we have in the office, but I think people can look at product lines like La Roche-Posay, Avene, things maybe they've never even heard of these brand names, but they're like product lines that were brought to the U.S. A lot of them were more in the doctor's offices originally, and then they got placed into the over-the-counter venue. And I don't think they just ever got advertised as much, so people don't realize that they're even out there. You know, but I think more people trigger on brands that we've heard forever, like Oil of Olay, Pond's, things, Revlon, because they've always had a stronger, I guess, more marketing presence in the U.S. So that would be one. The other thing, you know what, you go sneak over to the acne section, because the acne section has different, which is adaptogenic. It's like Retin-A. It's what we used a couple of years ago. That was their full strength, was a prescription item. It went over the counter. You know, you can have cell turnover better with the adapalene, which is Epiduo, different. Maybe those work trigger if you're actually in the drugstore or you're online shopping, and they can deliver it with your groceries. I think that a lot of the acne product area, one, for the people that are suffering, and I actually am hearing a lot of people having a problem with acne, and I think it's, you know, the changes that they're having to go through in life, as far as staying at home, a different environment. Stress is another big one for acne. So I think, you know, we're having a lot more problems with that right now. So I think if you can sneak over to the acne area, you can actually use some of it for anti-aging too. Like I said, adapalene is like a Retin-A. You can buy the retinols. They might be pretty weak, the retinols over the counter. So again, I would probably go more to the different products.
Yeah, stock up on the different. Yeah, I saw a comment that somebody said they love Avene, and I also love that line.
Yeah.
A lot of those like French pharmacy lines, just really, really great skincare. And I'm actually learning the difference. So
So what's that?
I said I'm personally also hoarding the different for anti-aging purposes.
Yeah,
You know, yeah,
and it's a very inexpensive substitute,
yeah.
and it's for most people not very irritating, which is one of the bigger problems with a lot of the products.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you know, you can find a lot of stuff in the drugstores today. It's just unfortunately you may not know what it means to you when you're looking
Right.
at something, and you wouldn't know to go to the acne section. You know, they have the glycolic acids there. They have the salicylic acids. Those are turnover, cell turnover products, and they do help make the skin better. You know, I haven't seen any fantastic over-the-counter antioxidants like the vitamin C's. I never kind of trust those as much because vitamin C, ascorbic acid, is really hard to stabilize.
Right.
And so what that means is it's usually really expensive. And I think that what happens is um, they may dump companies that are out there may kind of dump the vitamin C and say, oh, this is how much we have in there because that's what they dumped in there. That doesn't mean that it's active or stabilized.
Right.
So I really haven't seen a huge line. La Roche-Posay, I think on that one probably has one of the better vitamin C's available. The other things, you know, when you get really desperate, I did talk to somebody about this. I mean, there are things at your house. If you're, you know, we all know the hair situation is, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got my nails off finally. I soaked them off 2 days ago and it was like horrible. And I'm like, oh my God, my nails, yuck. But you know, you can do things like hair masks. You can make them yourself. You can use mayonnaise. You know, you can put it in the hair and let it sit. You know, things at your house if you're really, really sequestered, or light virgin oil. That's a nice one.
Oh, interesting.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, they're just things that you can use that we have every day that are super inexpensive.
Yeah, and we have more time now, so to experiment.
Right. If it doesn't
You know.
turn out or you can't get the oil out, you got a couple days to work on it.
Exactly. Something else that our readers are also wondering about are at-home devices. So like, you know, at-home hair removal devices, or like, you know, like the new skin, or, you know, devices that obviously don't give you as great a result as a dermatologist could, but, you know,
No.
what do you think about them? Do you think they
No,
work? Or?
no, I definitely love them. We actually sell them in the office. Like the Clarisonic, I think is that whole line is fantastic. And for the people who don't understand, Clarisonic is it's kind of like how we use the water pick for the teeth. It's actually what we use for the face. And they have a lot of different hand pieces that you can put on. And it's not super, super expensive because you keep using it over the years. And they have different heads that you will put on. So some people who might need for acne, there's special head for that. If you have sensitive skin, they have special heads for those. I think the Clarisonics are great. New Face, I swear by New Face. My patients and we all have kind of the time now. Yeah. The people that have consistently used New Face, that they, you know, we've used them through the office, and I think that in the dermatology office we have a little higher grade version, but still, anything's helping at this point. They look like they've had facelifts, some of these people. I mean, it's amazing on how great some of the outcomes are when they're consistent. And, you know, that always goes back to everything. Consistency. One of the things that people can get at the drugstore that they're probably not even thinking about is, I'm sitting next to a window right now. You still have to wear your sunscreen, everybody. You gotta put it on every day because, you know, and I also, who knows what the screens are doing to us, you know, there's not real definitive science on, do the blue lights from the screens of our devices, do they affect our skin? Do we age quicker by being on these devices too much? But you have to wear your sunscreen still. And yeah, because we don't like to reapply anything ever. And one that you like, you know, and you don't have to spend a gazillion dollars on, you know, something that you might want to get at Neiman Marcus that smells nice and it has like an extremely high price tag. You can find things that are definitely much more reasonable. Again, in the Avene line, in the Stay line, I think those are really nice ones.
Yeah, so one of my favorite sunscreen brands is Color Science, and they just came out with some like amazing color products that are actually give really nice. Like I think I'm wearing Color Science blush now.
It's beautiful on you.
They have like a 6 stick, but it has like SPF 30 in it, you know, and they have a really good under eye concealer, which I'm also wearing.
Well, you look fantastic, so you're good
thank you.
to them.
but I feel like I just love those products because it's basically makeup that, you know, it has such like a high percentage of like SPF in it. And it's just, I just love like a double duty product. And
I know.
especially if it has great color payoff in addition to sun protection,
Right.
like you can't go wrong there, right? So,
Totally. I
yeah.
mean, today's the day where everything has to have dual purpose. I mean, even us, you know, we have to have multiple things to offer for people to stay engaged, and that's kind of what these products are today. Is they have
Yeah.
multiple problem solving issues with people for
Mhm.
good. So, do you have any other good questions for me while you got me?
Well, I saw that somebody was asking about the screens because we have my screen time is up like 100% week over week, like every week, you know. So in
No.
between, like, you know, just being in front of our computer for meetings versus in person,
Right.
or you know, do you have any advice just for screen
You know,
time
again,
and what's
I
doing to our skin?
you do need to take a little bit of a break, and I do again, this has like been a bit of a topic, and there's not a lot of good data on this one. You know, I would go more towards safety, and at least for sunscreen, when you're in front of these screens, you may get some benefit from that. But you know, the blue light is, if nothing else, it's going to mess up your circadian rhythm. You know, I don't know if you have experienced this too, but I definitely am normally in a normal world in bed by 11. Now I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning looking at my everything on my iPad, and it does just throw your whole rhythm off. And you know, I think part of being healthy in this environment is you do have to kind of keep a normal rhythm as much as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So
So
I don't know if we can actually decrease on the screen time, but I think that would
I know,
definitely help.
I
So
know. Yeah.
now, being that we're kind of finishing up here, let me ask you, say not coronavirus time, because this is a whole different world. What makes you happy and healthy every day? Because we ask everybody who joins us.
You know, I mean, I'm a pretty social person, so I just love being able to be with people. And I think that my happiest times, whether I'm with like family or friends, you know, makes me happy and less stressed. And, you know, I forget about whatever it is, you know, when I'm with them, except for just the company of my friends and those people. And so I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into a routine where I can see people in person. But even during this period, I have like 10 different text message chains going. And
Oh,
that's actually been pretty helpful also, you know, just to constantly be in touch with people outside of the four walls of my home. So
right, right. Have you been doing more Zoom chats with family now than before?
FaceTime, yeah, a lot of FaceTime chats.
Mhm.
And I guess everybody's on this app called House Party. And
Yeah,
so,
we
yeah,
tried it. It was, I think we had a little problem with it. We ended up going to Zoom, but I know there was a
yeah.
hacking situation on that one also. So,
Yeah, it's a funny app because you can get into rooms with people, and then but you can also like barge in on someone's house
oh, I didn't know
party,
that. We
which
may have
is
to get
like
back
yeah,
on
it's
that.
funny. It's fun. Yeah, it's great fun. So
I think I may have to revisit that one. You know, you're a millennial, correct?
yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because it's always kind of been a little bit more under the impression, because I'm a boomer, and I always kind of think that the millennials are kind of not so communicative, but actually you guys really are. I mean, I think that the social interaction, you guys are very social, and you know, we always see, and I'm just telling you perspective of a generation to another generation. We always kind of have the perception that you're absorbed into the phone, which you really are just connecting with other people in a broader span. Because we're always like, they don't communicate, you know, but you guys are in a different vein.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can really only speak for myself and like, you know, my close friends. I hate the phone. So
Yeah.
I would rather text. You know, I love texting
Uh-huh.
right now, like FaceTiming, all good, video
Uh-huh.
chat, whatever. It's just like I have a lot of problems just like, you know, calling someone.
Uh-huh.
And that's funny because like my husband is a little bit older. And
Uh-huh.
so like when we first started dating, he would call me and I would be like, stop calling me.
Like, what are you
You know,
calling me for?
like, I know, I was like, just text. So, but that may just be me. So,
Are you getting more calling now that this has changed?
Yeah, like, I did talk to a friend yesterday on the phone for a while, but I think a lot of us are just FaceTiming, texting. Yeah,
It's huge. I think the FaceTiming is a big, I really do think just seeing people, it's a good connection. So I'm glad to hear that
absolutely.
you're handling it. And please, please be safe. You're definitely much more in the epicenter than we are. And we don't want to be the next epicenter, I promise you. But please be safe. And thank you so much for joining
You
us.
as well.
You definitely helped, hopefully, my followers understand a little bit more about Real Self so they can go on. It's free to go on. You guys
Yeah.
get a lot of information from it. And if you have a question in aesthetics, it's a great place to start. And that way it kind of makes you go in the right direction. I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Allenby.
Oh, you're so welcome.
It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to go through a couple promotions with the people out there. So I'm going to let you go. I don't want to take up too much of your time. And thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye. So thank you, Carolyn. Lots of wealth of knowledge, and definitely you guys have to try the realself.com online site. It is very, very helpful, and it gives a lot of information. Just so you know, actually a ton of people are taking great advantage of the Skin Medica 30% off free shipping when you order through our online site. We do have an online shopping area too, where you can get 10% off. We do have the virtual consults available through with Christina, our physician's assistant. You guys will love her. And when you treat in the office with her, we are giving a 10% on your treatment, just to make it better. We all are in a pickle together, and we do have to help each other at this point. So everybody stay safe, have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. We are going to have a couple good guests next week. We have some new beauty. We have actually one of my friends, Dr. Steve Fagan, an oculoplasty doctor, who's going to be talking with us on Friday. So enjoy, be healthy. Bye.